Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com, and welcome to this week's live Q&A. So big hello and welcome to everyone that's joining either live or afterwards. So we've got a live chat going on right now with our YouTube channel members. See quite a few people already in there. You can see Dana, Caleb, Keenan, Dana, and Knoxwave. So big, and Miles, hello to all of you. So each and every week, I answer questions from my YouTube channel members and Patreon supporters, all of which help support the channel, help support keeps things going. And so they've been able to submit questions in advance. Also, YouTube channel members have also been able to join in on the live chat right now. So that's something pretty cool as well. So if you become a member, that's what you gain access to. Also, you can use the super chat function, all of which help support the channel. So again, I'll be answering questions mainly about Disney Plus, but there's also generally can be some random questions in there as well. But as per usual, before we go any further, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe. And I will say that very much the case right now, because we are. I'm so close to 100,000 subscribers. This is a major milestone. I never, ever thought I'd ever get to. And yeah, I think we're about 110 people away. So if this is your first time watching, hit that subscribe button, because that will really, really help. But yeah, so oh, hello, big thank you and happy birthday to Bubba Trolling. It's the first birthday without my dad, so thinking of you getting me through the tough time. Thank you very much for joining me today. Yeah, that's going to be an absolute horrible thing for you to have to go through. So yeah, my thoughts are completely with you. Yeah, especially at the moment. Right. Okay, so we've got lots of questions and stuff. I'm going to jump into the live chat in between some of the pre-done questions. I've got quite a few different topics, a lot about Fubo and stuff today. So Caleb asked, Disney officially announced that they have completed a transaction to combine Hulu Live TV and Fubo. When do you see the apps consolidating? So they did announce that they've Disney's now finalized its deal. It now means that combined the Fubo and Hulu Live TV businesses have about 6 million subscribers in the US. At the minute, they are looking to keep them separately, but their combined businesses expect to help reduce costs and have more synergies. Disney own about 70% of it, while Fubo holds 30% of the interest. And the Fubo guys are going to be running it, with a few people from Disney kind of helping out. And I think this is the important thing to look at: is Fubo is going to be its own separate company. It's not completely fully owned by Disney, but now they've incorporated Hulu+Live TV into there. So they say that at the minute they're going to remain separate entities. Now, I imagine that that's what they've had to say to get the deal through. It does look like Disney may have taken advantage of the current government's problems and stuff to be able to get some of this stuff through. Because I mean, I think they were expecting to get it through either next year, maybe even a bit later. So they managed to rush it through. Now, my personal prediction is that Hulu Live TV will merge into Fubo TV, because Fubo TV is the bigger, in some ways. It's a different brand. It's going to be run by a different company. I think that would make sense for them to take the Hulu Live bundle and then take them over to Fubo, and together have one combined package. We're seeing a lot of consolidation. And I think Fubo also could then become the streaming television side of things, and it's separate from the Hulu brand. And I think that's one way of doing it. So I'm going to put a bet on the fact that Hulu Live TV will merge into Fubo, which will allow them to close down the Hulu app, which obviously they're going to be merging Hulu into Disney Plus. Now suddenly you see all the Hulu stuff and the video on demand stuff is going to Disney Plus, and then all the live TV is going to go into Fubo, and suddenly then the Hulu app doesn't need to exist anymore because they've removed that functionality. So that's my prediction, and I think it will happen in 2026. I don't think we're going to hear anything this year. I think they're going to have to take time to get things sorted, but I am expecting it to happen sooner rather than later. They obviously also, I don't know if they would want to announce it right now with the current problem with YouTube TV, but that is my pure speculation that Fubo TV will be the future of their live TV business, and then Hulu Live TV can get moved over. It's a nice little way of wrapping all of this up. Now, the big question is could Fubo TV become available within Disney Plus? So you have a Fubo tab. So that could be one way they could get around it. That's kind of what I'm kind of thinking that might be the case. So I did run a poll right now of what do you think is going to happen. Hulu Live merges into Fubo. 52% of you think that. Fubo and Hulu Live will stay separate, 18%, and Fubo will also be available within Disney Plus at 28%. So I did kind of realize that those are not necessarily the same question, but yeah, I think most people kind of seeing there. I've seen other people saying the other thing of like, get Fubo into Hulu and then merge it into Disney Plus, which is very, very possible. More consolidation is going to be needed. I still have a kind of a feeling with this whole like TV streaming system that's been used in the United States. To me, it feels like it's cable light. It's only going to be useful for so long, and these kind of businesses aren't going to be around too much longer. I don't think in 20 years' time like Fubo will exist like it is. I just don't think there will be a need for it. This is kind of like a short-term thing just to kind of get people moved over to it. Let's see if we've got any comments on that one. Keenan says, my birthday is on Saturday. Have a good Saturday. I hope you have a really nice day next week. Let's just have a look at some of the live chats. Dana says, I think Hulu Live will eventually merge into Fubo and it will become an add-on on Disney Plus. Yeah, I think that just makes a lot of sense. Dana also says Disney Plus should have Hulu included, ESPN as an add-on, with Fubo as an add-on. Now, I'm going to be a little bit controversial here because I think Hulu definitely needs to be put into Disney Plus. But I think Disney missed a trick with ESPN. I think they're so hooked on having that regular income from ESPN from cable that they can't turn it off. But in actual fact, I think ESPN should just be part of the Disney Plus subscription in the same way that sports are available on Peacock, Paramount, Netflix. I just think that idea of having them as a separate bundle, I wouldn't be surprised if in 5-10 years' time that might disappear. Kayla says, to answer the question, Hulu Live TV will merge into Fubo once Disney announces that Hulu standalone app closes. It just makes sense. If you're closing the Hulu app, what are you going to do with Hulu Live TV? You've either got to create a brand new app or move everybody over to Fubo. Maybe they turn everyone's Fubo account into a My Disney account, and that's how they get around it. Kelly says, how do you feel about The King of the Hill being renewed for 2 more additional seasons? Cool. If you're a fan of the show, I think that is good news. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't actually got around to it. I will be honest, I have really the last month I've just not really been watching a huge amount of television. I've just kind of got a bit burnt out, I think. Okay, so what are your thoughts on Disneyland utilizing Deadpool for their Christmas events at the park? I think that's generally just over at Disney California Adventure. They can it's a little bit separate, which I think is a good thing. And it makes sense to use Deadpool. He's really popular. I don't think they can use him at Walt Disney World. I don't know if Deadpool might get classed as an X-Men, so won't be able to be used over there. I think I've only seen the head Wolverine and Deadpool last year at DCA, which kind of makes sense. And again, he's not in Disneyland. He's maybe a little bit not quite the voice you want to do there. Bubba Trolling says, can you explain what happened to Fubo and Disney? I don't understand what happened to the Fubo deal. Did they sell Hulu Live TV or did they acquire 70% of Fubo? So Disney has acquired 70% of Fubo. As part of the deal, the Hulu Live TV business has moved into Fubo. So they've kind of taken a little bit. And again, it's not Hulu. It's just the Hulu Live TV side of it that's been moved over. So the Hulu element is still owned by Disney. Again, why would you split your company into two, the Hulu brand into two, if you were going to be, that's just the way I'm looking at it. Like, why would you do that if you, it just, to me, it just makes sense that they can shift the Hulu brand over away to Fubo. So this all kind of really came about because Disney was teaming up with Warner Brothers and Fox to launch a new sports streaming service called Venue Sports, which is going to have all their content in it. And that was like a skinny kind of version of cable. And it was going to be like a lot cheaper than like normal bundles. that meant that a lot of the other companies like YouTube and DirecTV and Fubo, etc., were like, well, that's not fair. We want that option as well. And so Fubo took Disney to court and Warner Brothers all that to court. They managed to get a temporary restraining order, or not restraining order, a temporary order to stop the launch of Venue Sports. It went through all the appeals because they had the proof that it wasn't fair. Disney appealed. The second they got a failure on the appeal, suddenly Venue Sports got announced that they weren't going to be continuing, and because essentially none of them wanted it to go to, I think they call it Discover in the lawyer system over in the US, where suddenly all the information starts becoming public, which they didn't want. They stopped this Venue Sports, and literally within days, suddenly Fubo was being brought out by Disney, and it was like, there was no doubt that the deal was made of like, yeah, and suddenly now Fubo is going to become an even bigger thing, and they've managed to get, essentially, Disney basically brought them out and got rid of the problem. Keenan says, how does the Hulu Live TV merger with Fubo impact the merger of Disney and Hulu? Again, this is where it's beautiful. This is where it's the beauty of this deal is Hulu can move, the video on demand section can move into Disney Plus as a hub and continue as Hulu. Hulu Live TV will be able to be moved over into Fubo, allowing for the Hulu app to be completely closed, and they have removed then a whole app, all the costs that run with it, and now suddenly the Hulu Live TV, you're not having the miscommunication between what's going on. So that's what that is. Thank you very much for your super chat, Derek. Thank you so much for your continued support. What reasons Disney will keep Hulu alive around a little longer, and what benefits do you think they might be left in it? I think obviously they have got subscribers of Hulu Live TV. I think it's about 4 million. So they are making money. I mean, you think of it, they're paying about $100 a month. So there's a lot of money there, but it's not growing. It doesn't really seem to be getting any bigger. But Disney want to keep hold of those people because they make more money out of them than, say, somebody out of like YouTube or TV or DirecTV or Spectrum, etc. I think Hulu brand, obviously, Disney has decided that the Hulu brand is the general entertainment side of things. The fact now that we've got Hulu here in the UK as a hub, that kind of says that where they're going. And I just don't think the Hulu Live TV branding really fits with the direction of where Hulu is just a part of Disney Plus. It's confusing for people to be going, oh, have you got Hulu? I've got Hulu Live TV. It's like, when it's easy then to have Fubo as this big orange thing and Disney Plus as this big green thing, and you've got them separate. So that's where I think it makes sense. But they're going to want to move all those Hulu Live subscribers over to Fubo. So I hope but that's what I think. Anyway, but again, thank you so much for your support, Derek, and your continued support. You really are awesome. That is fantastic. Babak says, what do you think of the Disney YouTube disagreement will end, or how do you think it will end? Usually with one of them dumping a load of money and some of them backing down. So this is a little bit of a weird thing. So I've seen so much online, and I'm never too sure how much of this is just bots and just stirring the pot. Disney's evil, and then you got the other hand going, Google's evil. And it's like you got $2 billion corporations fighting it out, and you've got to pick a side. Well, you don't have to pick a side. You're in the middle, and you can be like, well, that's right, and that's wrong, and that's right, and that's right, and that's wrong, and you can choose. Fundamentally, YouTube wants a better deal. They want a cheaper deal. They want to be able to make more money from their subscribers. And if they can squeeze the cable or the studios for more money, that means they make more money. So from YouTube's point of view, they are trying to get more money. They're not interested in trying to save money for the customer. They couldn't give a rat's ass. They want more money. That's how big corporations live, to make money. They don't care about you or your feelings. That's just unfortunately the thing with corporations. Disney want to get more money out of YouTube. That's the whole point of this. And there's a point of which, and it's like, and I will say this about every single business, no matter if they are selling cans or if you're selling Warhammer toys. No matter what you are doing, every company will have a limit of how low they are willing to sell a product for to a supplier to make money. And there will be with this can that got sold by Pepsi to Sainsbury's, there will be a point of which Pepsi is like, we can't go any lower than this because that is the price. We're selling that price to, all the other supermarkets. That is the bottom line. And Sainsbury's could be there going, well, we want it cheaper. We want it cheaper. We want it cheaper. And then Pepsi could go, you can't have it any cheaper. It's that price. This is the price. This is the costs have gone up. These are the new costs. We are not willing to accept anything less. And all suppliers will have there is always a little bit of wiggle room. There's always a negotiation space. But there is always going to be a cutoff point of which any business will go, no more. I will not, I know. And that's just being involved in, any kind of transaction. You are selling something. So if you're selling your car, or you're selling, I don't know, your Pokemon card or whatever it is, there will be a limit of which you will not sell it. Though you might not know what it is, but there's a point where you, as a buyer, will only be able to push you down so low until you go, no. And YouTube, obviously, there is this bargain point, and they are playing hardball. And ultimately, the fact of taking it off the air is a way for applying leverage onto YouTube and onto Disney to try and get this thing fixed. The question is, for me, is how long is this going to go on for? It usually, Monday Night Football is usually one of the big kind of pulls. This is why the carriage disputes always happen around this time of the year, because this is when ABC has the most leverage over its customers, because they want the Monday Night Football. And that's a big thing. There is also a major difference this year to any other previous carriage dispute, because right now you can get ESPN Unlimited on your app, on your device, without the use of any cable company. And this has changed the complexion of this entire situation, because now everyone has an option to go around people. And I've seen a lot of people talking about the fact of this is just a way of getting more people to sign up to Fubo or Hulu+Live TV. 100%. Because if you jump from YouTube TV to Hulu or to Fubo, Disney make more money out of you. Perfect. Great. Disney are now in a stronger position because they now own Fubo and they've got ESPN Unlimited. So they are in a stronger position. At the end of the day, they are supplying the goods. YouTube TV is trying to sell people on content and channels. And the thing is with YouTube has been used to getting us lot, like me, we upload it, and then we have to trust them that they give us the money for the advertising. Well, in this situation, the YouTube TV works a little bit different. It'll be a bit like me now saying to YouTube, going, right, you can have my latest Q&A podcast, but I want this much money. And they're like, no, you can't have that much. You're not having it. And I could be like, okay, well, there would be a limit of which point, is this worth me doing? And YouTube's kind of got used to this idea of getting everyone to upload stuff for free, and then they only pay us if it works. Well, with YouTube TV, they are providing a service. They need that content. Without the content, people won't subscribe. I think you also got Google think they've got a lot of leverage because they're big. Disney wants the 10 million subscribers they've got. They want to have that monthly income. That's a lot of money. But at the same time, there is a bit of it. Both companies are trying to get as much money for them as they can. I do think there probably will be a deal, but it might be a lot longer than we expect. And they might, I don't know, maybe this is the point of which point Disney are like, that is the price. Come back to us when you're willing to agree to it. And then they just basically put the phone down and go, that's it. It's up to you now. And YouTube will go, they'll come back to us. And then there's a stalemate. And at some point, I think there is a definite thing of it. But it's always a bit of a weird one. As Babek says, now that Disney has Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN, and Fubo, do they even need YouTube TV? Well, they do want, they do like that 10 million people paying probably $10-20 a month. That's a lot of money. Elias says, I've seen a lot of anti-Disney people say this is a play for YouTube to get SEC rights and remove ESPN as the middleman, yet they're forgetting or ignoring that ESPN has the rights until 2033. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of, I definitely would say, like on X, Twitter. That there's a lot of people are taking advantage of, again, the algorithm, because negativity makes money, and it's easy to put Disney as the bad guy rather than Google or YouTube. And then, and if YouTube has to put the price up, then they blame Disney, because Disney is the easy scapegoat for all of the problems. At the end of the day, both companies are trying to get as much money out of each other as they possibly can. And there is going to be a line on either side. YouTube might be like, we are not willing to pay that. But again, it's catch-22. They are selling a service. They are selling television channels. If they don't have those television channels, they can't sell the service. The fact that YouTube has had 5 carriage disputes already this year starts saying to me that maybe the problem, there's a lot of pressure being put on. I think Univision hasn't broken from YouTube. There is obviously some stuff going on with YouTube that they've already done 5 disputes and deals this year. There's something going on there. There's something in there. Yeah, and again, there is definitely an anti Disney thing going on it. Puppetron says it's not a non-profit organization, it's for a profit. That's all businesses. That's all businesses for sure. Ahmad says, what do you think the likelihood that the 2026 Academy Awards will air on Disney Plus in addition to ABC and Hulu, unlike in 2025 when it only aired on ABC and Hulu? I don't know when the deal runs out, but I mean, not being funny, if I was Disney, I wouldn't be bothering with the Oscars myself. And the thing that got me with Disney with having the Oscars is why they then license out the show to all the other channels. It's like here in the UK, instead of putting it on Disney Plus, they sold the rights to ITV. I mean, why not put it on Disney Plus? Because ITV would make more. I just don't think these award shows are worth the money that they're paying for them anymore. Matt says, do you think other services like YouTube will remove Disney channels off their services? I mean, seems like every cable company has kind of disputes at some point, and they all seem to kind of get close to it. But what they've been, once they made that big deal with Charter a couple of years ago, where they included Disney Plus and ESPN Unlimited, that's kind of become the new cable deal. And so I think that's what Disney's sort of saying with YouTube. Well, that's what you're going to pay us. That's what everybody else is paying. And they go, no. And they go, no, but that's what everybody else is paying. That is our deal. So I think that's kind of the big problem there. Bubbuck says, did you see the new widget for iPhones and iPads for Disney Plus? I don't think so. Let me have a look. I updated mine. Let me just have a look on Disney. I'm not gonna lie, I don't use my phone for Disney Plus very often. I used to use it a lot more. I don't use it as much as I used to. I think now with the new releases, it's all over the place. Widget. Have I got a widget? Doesn't look any different on my one. No, looks identical. Maybe it's just in the US. Matt says, what do you think of Only Murders in the Building getting a 2nd or 6th season? Good. I like the fact it's coming to London. I think that'll give it a bit of a refresh. Plenty of opportunities for new cameos and things like that. If Disney want me to be in it, feel free. Contact. But yeah, I mean, fellow podcaster to another. That'll be fine. Yeah, I think that would be good. I do personally think that they probably should start thinking about trying to wrap that show up. I do worry about the fact of both the Martins kind of getting on a little bit. Mamo says, how do you think Disney will market the unified app to help convince standalone Hulu subscribers and non-Disney subscribers to join the new Disney Plus? So, how I imagine, and I kind of find that, again, the way that Disney kind of marketing the new unified app, it's going to be the same Disney Plus app. They're just going to make it a little bit better. We're not having a whole new, because again, it confused people when they came out with that. All you're going to see is this big marketing campaign of Hulu on Disney Plus. One service, one price. Look at all this great stuff you can now watch with one subscription. And that's how they do it. It's just literally, here is the price, $10.99 a month. You get all of this. And that is how they advertise it. You get all of this, and Hulu is now on Disney Plus. And yeah, the fact that you've got Hulu is already kind of, how many people are probably on the Hulu bundle or already on the Disney bundle already, because that could be a big thing. But also just migrating everybody over, because we're only talking like what, $1. They're probably just going to be able to move everybody over to the new bundle and like grandfather people in. Thank you very much, Matt, for your super chat. What collection would you like to see added to Disney Plus to help find programs more? What would I like to see? I mean, I definitely would like to see kind of things like, I would like to see like decades come back, so you can go down by the decades. Maybe some like directors, maybe some big stars. Just have some more options in there to find it. I would like, personally, I don't necessarily know about collections. The only real collections I kind of check, which I check every day, will be the coming soon section. Obviously, I need to. Disney Plus here in the UK we don't get a lot of new collections. So yeah, I think just like that would be the main thing. And maybe just for me, I always just jump straight into what's new and what's coming soon. That's pretty much my go-to for Disney Plus. To be honest, it's pretty much my go-to for all apps. It's like, what's new? What do I want to watch? What's got the new episodes? What's the new show? That's what I'm going to watch. I don't tend to watch a huge amount of back catalog stuff. So that the collection side of things is not something I necessarily, if I'm after something, I'll just type it in. But yeah, for me, the collections, it's that coming soon collection and all collections are the two ones that I use the most. Hope that answers it. Matt says they can also save money or less people working on Disney and having one service. That is the key thing. This is why Hulu is going to get swallowed up and why Hulu Live TV will get swallowed up, because suddenly then all the people that are working on those device platforms, most of them can be scattered off to the other apps to help run them, get them working better. They can, not going to have different servers. They're not going to have to upload things to multiple places. They're not going to have to do different advertising campaigns. The market, everything can get consolidated, which saves them money. Bubba Trolling says, what is the difference between 70% of a company and versus 100% of a company? Well, 100% of the company obviously is then theirs. They can do what they can do what they want. They've got full control. It's their thing. They can do what they need to. If they've got 70% of the business, they still are going to have a majority ownership. So therefore, if they are, say there's a board meeting and there is okay, so we want to turn the color from orange to bright pink. If Fubo people say, can we do that? And they've got, I don't know, say there's a vote of, keep it simple, 10 people on the board of directors, 3 of them are Fubo, 7 of them are Disney. The 7 Disney people can always outvote it. So it's a little bit like the traders. So that kind of thing of, that how that can work. So that's the general thing, but also it just generally means then that like Fubo will get 30% of the profits and they still have a say in it. But ultimately, anytime anything big has to happen, there'll have to be more meetings, etc. But Disney will have a big enough stake in it that they will be able to kind of railroad what they want. A little bit like with what happened with Hulu, that if you think about like when Disney owned 66% of it and Comcast owned 33% of it, Comcast let Disney, well, they had to, Disney had the operating, but they still couldn't do everything they wanted with it until they got rid of Comcast. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to go up to the live one, see if I've missed anything here. Kaylee says, Cord Cutters News reported that YouTube TV dispute is over YouTube wanting to create a skinnier sports package. Do you see this happening once the two sides resolve this? I mean, there's a lot of them that are offering this now. I think Fubo and Sling, I think there's a few of them that are offering these cheaper options. So it would make sense for them to offer that to YouTube as well. Yeah, because I think most people are now thinking really it's like with they only really want the sports. Dana, I also think Disney should look at working with other streaming services as add-ons and be another tile within Disney Plus. Good thing. I have been thinking about this because obviously Hulu does offer some different options inside of it. Now, will Disney Plus offer that when Hulu disappears? Will that continue? But also, more importantly, like Max might not even exist in a year. If Netflix buy it, that's going to get swallowed up. If Paramount buy it, they're going to swallow it into Paramount Plus. If Peacock or Comcast gets it or gets swallowed, Max is going to be gone anyway. Cinemax, I don't know if that's still going. You do have to start wondering of like, who's going to want to offer their stuff through Disney Plus? I don't know. I personally don't think it's like, if you're going to do that, you have to do all or none. It's like Amazon. Amazon's got a lot of that stuff in there, and it's a bit of nice extra income, but I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced. Bubba Charlie says, do you think Disney is keeping it separate so if Fubo doesn't work, they can sell the company? Yeah, they can sell it off. They can also kind of get rid of it easier. Knoxwave says, with Paramount and Skydance got merged, MTV shows are getting cancelled due to the merge. Well, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. I mean, MTV, that is something that is just not like today. I just don't see how that can work. People don't watch music television in the same way that they did when I was a lad and when I was a teenager. MTV was so good. You could literally, you'd turn it on and you'd have music videos, and we used to have like 15 different music video channels because the only way you could watch a music video was on MTV. And I think that's the kind of thing of like, now we've got it all on demand. The concept of MTV's disappeared. They went into doing different TV shows, but that audience, that teenage audience has left television. You can see the escape of, they've all gone to social media and video games and all this other kind of content. And that teenage early 20s group, they've left television, and MTV are just like, they've hardly had anything left. Alex says, I'm surprised they didn't make ESPN part of Hulu Live to create such a stronger live TV network. I think Hulu Live TV gets ESPN Unlimited and Disney Plus and everything in there anyway. Elias says, with Disney Plus and ESPN, I think Disney charge as an add-on to prevent lawsuits from cable companies, yet they might make it complimentary if not enough people sign up, or when cable companies more mute. I do 100% agree with you. I think that's definitely it. I think that's definitely... and again, this is the whole problem of trying to keep the whole system running, because that's the status quo, and they still making money from it. I'm still surprised we haven't got ESPN here in the UK yet. I thought it was going to come yet. Knoxwave, sadly, the Disneyland is getting rid of the characters like the Evil Queen, for example. Aren't they just making them like Halloween only? Now, that might be... Now, I know there was a lot of fuss over like some of the characters, of people getting a little bit upset that like who was playing them and stuff. I don't know. Maybe as well, it's just like those characters aren't resonating with younger audiences in the same way, and replace some of those characters with more modern ones. Like for me, I don't think Disney sometimes uses enough of their modern characters enough. It does feel like sometimes, the princesses and stuff are different, but like mix it up a little bit, throw some other characters out there. I think that's something they need to do. Matt says, when do you think the rest of the world will have live streams? Well, I mean, I don't know about the streams. Again, I'm surprised we haven't got them. Again, I don't really know it, but it does feel very much like that might be something we get down the line, but it does seem a little bit weird that we don't have it. So it's definitely a little bit weird. Definitely something I would definitely recommend kind of looking at. Again, just another little thing. If you are watching and you aren't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that little button over here. Let's see if there's any other live questions. Babak says, my guess is they'll start running sales for their services as it lasts to get... Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to have Black Friday coming up, so they'll do that anyway. Both Bubba Trolling and Matt both asked about what they're going to do with A&E. You guys both literally put the same question at the same time. I'm be surprised if Disney doesn't end up selling some of it or exchanging its share in that for the ESPN share that Hearst Media has. I don't really get why Disney would want that anymore. Do they need it? I mean, they could split some assets and stuff, but I don't really get why. The whole point of having the A&E networks as well was obviously, I think, help keep their bundle together. But I don't know. I don't really see a lot of I mean, I look at like all that Lifetime and some of the random things they've been putting on Disney Plus. It's like, this is just cack. Miles says, in addition to promoting during the upcoming Super Bowl and Winter Olympic Games, could Disney kick off its promotion blitz for hoppers during the Formula One Grand Prix on November the 2nd? Probably not. No, I mean, I wouldn't do any promotion for hoppers this side of New Year. You've got Zootopia 2 coming out that weekend. That's what you blast Zootopia 2 during the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Yeah, that's how I would definitely do it. Here we go. Keenan says, is there channels that Fubo TV doesn't have that Hulu Live TV? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what the channels they have that are different. I would assume there probably are some. Again, these services, they aren't even available. And it's actually, to be honest, ever since Hulu launched in the UK, it's kind of annoying now. I can't check out the Hulu website. It used to allow me to look around there and I could do all my bits, but now it just auto redirects to Disney Plus. So it's a little bit of a pain. But yeah, if you guys know that, feel free to pop that in there. Babek says, I'm surprised they didn't make ESPN as part of Hulu Live. Yeah, it is part of it. Let's see what we've got here. See if we've got anything now. Matt asked, what bundles could you see emerge of Hulu? I mean, I could easily see Fubo TV will probably end up including ESPN Unlimited and Disney Plus as standard. I don't know, like all these bundles. I mean, it almost feels like now we need a mega bundle where you get, I don't know, Netflix, Apple, Peacock, Comcast, and put them all together. Yeah, but again, thank you so much for being a member for 2 years, Keenan. Thank you so much for your support. Let's see what we've got here. Do you think a lot of people will be signing up to the new ESPN? I'm sure there's going to be a boost. There will be a boost of people doing it and dropping in YouTube TV. Because if they want to watch their sports, it would make sense for them. And there is that thing now that you can. I also know that Sling TV was doing like a $5 deal. You could just get it for the day. People are going to look for alternatives. People will give YouTube TV maybe a weekend, maybe a week or a couple of weeks, but they will, if they only got it for ESPN and they don't have it, they will go elsewhere. Which is exactly the difference of the Disney's in a stronger bargaining position than they were this time last year because of the existence of ESPN Unlimited. Bubba also says, I'm wondering if Disney Plus will oh yeah, we did that one. Did we do that one? We'll change anyone can subscribe. Yeah. I'm not convinced it's a good idea. Matt says, I have ESPN, add it into my Disney Plus. Kelly says, I felt like ridiculousness went past his expiration date, so it's time to move on. It does feel like a lot of them aren't really worth watching. Kelly says he has the Hulu Live TV and ESPN Unlimited as it's included in my Disney bundle. Kelly says, one thing that was interesting during last night's Saturday main event on Peacock, there were ads for Disney World. Well, I mean, ultimately, Disney, are willing to spend money on advertising. Comcast likes money. I mean, it's probably a bit like, I'm sure it makes sense for them to take the money. Okay, it's also another interesting thing from the Ranking and Bass Christmas specials of streaming on Disney Plus is a good thing due to once the CBS licensing deals ended, NBCU allowed non-exclusive streaming. That's what to be honest, I have no idea what that is. Ranking and Bass Christmas, is that fishing or country music? Song R&B? I don't know. See how quickly my thing they went from all over the place. Is it fishing? Is it the DJs? Miles says, explain how beneficial it will be for the main trailer of Hoppers and the teaser trailer for Toy Story debut during Zootopia 2 in a few weeks. 100% agreed that 100% it would be beneficial. First off, you've got one of the biggest, probably I think it could be one of the biggest films of the year. You've got all these families going. That little trailer beforehand is going to get people's attention. It's going to get them to think about it a little bit and just set that little seed in their brain. And that's what it's all about. So I 100% think, you get a trailer in front of for that one. Maybe a teaser trailer in front of Toy Story 5. I don't know if it I don't know about Toy Story 5 if they need it. That's the one I would be like, if it was me right now, I'd be like going, right, let's just focus on Avatar, Hoppers, and what else have they got coming up that they could put out? And the Percy Jackson. Leah says, interesting. It seems that Disney is starting to phase out access to Hulu separately. When do you think they'll cut off access to the Hulu separate website and app? I would imagine there is going to be a little crossover period, maybe 6 months, 3 months, something like that, where they'll try and get as many people over from away from Hulu, give people notice, maybe start taking fun things away. They won't just turn it off and everyone has to move over on one day. They'll do it slowly, and maybe you start seeing content like, I don't know, they might be like a front page thing of going, please please download this. Yeah, there'll be a transition, but I would easily imagine this will all be done by September next year, because they're going to want to go into the new full season, everybody integrated with Disney. That's my guess. Bobatron says, do you think Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers? I think they probably could pick up the side of it that doesn't have all the cable channels. If they are willing to pay more than Paramount, I actually think it will be a good play for Netflix, because suddenly then they get a massive back catalogue of content to be able to compete with Disney, Peacock, Paramount. Suddenly they've got assets like that. They've got a theatrical arm, so they can do big motion movies. They've got lots of television production, so they can do their own stuff in-house. And they can then incorporate HBO Max and getting that list. There's a lot of benefits, I think. I don't think it's a good idea from our point of view, because I don't know necessarily how much they're going to be. It will just get swallowed up. But yeah, I think it's very likely to happen. Apparently, Rankin and Bass are a production company. They are behind Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming Down, and Thundercats. Thundercats. Until I was an 80s kid. Let's see what we've got here. Babak says, do you think we'll see games on Disney Plus now that they have a 10% stake in Epic Games like Peacock and Netflix? I don't think so. They did try that when Disney the soft launch of Disney Life here in the UK many years ago. They quickly got rid of that one. I think they're much more likely just to team up with anything like Apple or PlayStation or Xbox, Nintendo, etc. if they want to bundle it in, make more money that way without having the outkeep. Most of the Disney games, in all reality, though, a lot of them are monetized through microtransactions. So that's where they make the money. Buying costumes, buying outfits, buying premium boxes, etc. So therefore, I don't necessarily, the games aren't designed for being included in a subscription. So that's where I don't think it will work for them, because again, the new games that come out, they're not based, the monetary system isn't based around a subscription. And Netflix has got rid of tons of them. Kelly says, with Disney not renewing the deal to stream Doctor Who from BBC, where do you see the series landing next? Well, I mean, the TARDIS can go anywhere, because that's the great thing about it. But obviously, I think in the UK, we're still going to have our BBC. It's not going to make one iota difference to me. It will still be on the BBC. Who they could deal with, I don't think they're going to have a problem finding someone to buy it. I think someone will take a punt on it. I don't think they're going to get the money that they did from Disney, but I could easily see Amazon or Netflix picking up global rights for maybe a lot less. I think there will be a bit of like, oh, we'll have a look at it, but we're not paying a lot for it. It's a bit of a damaged brand. But if you've got suddenly, if they can throw in, I don't know, 60 years of old episodes in there, suddenly that does become a bit more attractive. And I think definitely think Netflix could be much more interested in it. Miles said, Pixar's Hoppers will debut. The trailer will debut later this month. Will it be shown before Wicked or Zootopia 2? I'd guess both. I would go with both. Again, you want Hoppers 2 in front of Wicked because that's a big family audience, and I think that's going to be a big movie. Mamo says, do you think the upcoming earnings call will get more information about the Disney Plus Hulu, like dates, bundles, add-ons, and plans of Hulu Live TV? They're probably going to give us a few kind of like crumbs to kind of keep the shareholders happy. Yeah, I think it will definitely they will give us it's coming next year and it will be good and we're going to do this, and I'm not expecting they'll want to do it when they want to get the share price up. And obviously, I think it's unless they get that Hulu Live or that YouTube deal done, it might not come across good if they do it. I would maybe expect it next year. Keenan says, do you think we'll get the Happy Holidays creative playlist sometime this week, or it could be there? I would imagine this week would make sense for Thanksgiving, get all the holiday stuff in. I'm not gonna lie. To me, this is crazy. It feels like the last 48 hours, suddenly all the adverts on TV have gone Christmas. The shops have got in there. There's Christmas music going. I'm not in the mood for Christmas, and it just doesn't feel ready. And it's like, it just feels like, no, I'm not ready for Christmas yet. To be honest, it's like for me, like I like to get into December. I know you guys have a Thanksgiving and it kind of gets you warmed up, but for me, it's like December is the start of getting ready for Christmas. Babak says, when do you think Disney will roll out the new UI? In the press release, they said it was coming in the weeks and months. They didn't really say that. They just said it was coming soon. Again, that was that whole thing of them putting in that date in there that it would be on 8th was for the Hulu stuff. There was never really a firm date of when it's coming. Again, I think a lot of this stuff is probably going to happen maybe more online of I would imagine I don't imagine anything's going to happen between now and New Year's, because this is prime television time. They don't want to screw anything up. Miles says, could Walt Disney Studios invest in doing some anime movies, particularly after the success of Demon Slayer in the last few months? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, you'd hope that they would start looking at it going, look, there's some interest here. Maybe we should try some different things. At least get the stuff on, get all the anime onto Hulu, Disney Plus. But yeah, I think I would say to them, like, come on, do something different. Try something. The audience is interested in this stuff. Do it. Let 20th Century do it if they need be. Don't put the Disney brand on it, put it on the 20th Century. Bubba Trolling says, do you think Netflix was always going to win the streaming wars because they had focus on the tech rather than instead of other streaming services? I would always say no. Just because someone's number one and the biggest doesn't mean they are always going to be the biggest. Other ones Netflix could falter. Netflix could make some mistakes. The big problem for Netflix is that they are a one-trick pony. And that's good for them in some ways. They have been able to dominate the streaming business because they are a streaming business. Disney and Paramount and Warner Brothers and Apple and Amazon, they're all in other businesses. It's not their whole business. And that changes the business model. Apple has Apple TV, which I actually think is one of the most underrated streaming services around. They have some fantastic series on there and some great movies. That's there to get you into the device system to keep you there. I have Apple TV because I have an Apple TV box because it works a lot better than the television, and it's just really good. Amazon, people get in on the Amazon system and they're just locked in there because it offers free shipping and all the other benefits that come with it. And I think that's, they have a different business. And also, I think Netflix is really going to have to watch it when all the other companies, when cable television stuff starts disappearing. But again, theatrical, they're making. There is no point in a movie spending $200+ million on a major blockbuster movie and just dropping it onto streaming. It doesn't make financial sense. Netflix was chasing everybody else, and the other studios went, this isn't working. We're just not getting the reserve. You can't spend that much money on a movie for streaming. It's just not financial. And I'd much rather we have movies that are coming out in cinemas and making money and we get big epic blockbusters. Because if it all goes to streaming, we're just going to go down to having Lifetime movies all the time. Keenan says, if Paramount buys Warner Brothers, it will be a better deal. James Gunn stays at DC. HBO merges with Paramount Plus, and both studios release about 15 films a year, avoiding the 20th Century Fox. I mean, I'm not convinced that. I don't think that's the. There's a van. I think if Paramount gets Warner Brothers, it means they're going to get a bigger slice, and they're going to get bigger. And I think the guy that's just brought it, I think they know they need to scale up, and the best way of scaling up is to get hold of Warner Brothers to be able to compete with Disney and Comcast, etc. I think if they don't get it, they're going to struggle. Babak says, do you think there'll be more collaborations with Epic Games following the Simpsons shorts? Yeah, I mean, we're just going to constantly see them. I did try and get in on that last night, but I couldn't get in. It was too busy. So I'm planning on playing on it tonight. I'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow. I'm going to share my thoughts on that then. Babatrana says, do you think that the Fubo TV deal is playing a role in the current situation with the YouTube TV blackouts? I don't think it's a problem. I think with that system, it's not necessarily about. I think it's a convenient excuse to make YouTube can use that to kind of sell a story about the fact that Disney are, they've now got Fubo, so they're now coming after us. It's like, well, you went after them. YouTube went into the television business. It's like, well, yeah, this is the business that you wanted to get in on. This is what you have to do. Kayla says, ESPN and Sony Beyond Sports announced a new extended partnership to utilize innovative tech and alternative telecasts featuring Disney IP. What are your thoughts on this? On one hand, I get it. Get younger people to watch it. Personally, no. What a waste of money. It's just like, I'm sorry, but I really did try and get into American football, and I don't mind a little bit of it, but I can only watch the highlights. It's so dull. It's too long. You're going to spend like 4 hours watching a game. It's just like, sorry, I haven't got enough time to sit there and waste the amount of ads that you guys get. It's just like, and if you are a kid watching this stuff, it's going to be slow. I mean, just let the kid play Madden on their app, and then we'll have a much better fun of it. I don't know. I think it's tech for tech's sake. They've managed to sell it. The NFL's brought in on it. I don't know. I mean, it's a good way of trying to get youngsters into these sports, because apparently sports are becoming harder for kids to get into. But I don't know. Feels a bit weird. Let's actually do a poll. Let's do that one. So let's do a poll on that one. Poll. What do you think of the ESPN Beyond Sports deal? Great for young sports fans. Good for the future. Yeah. And waste of money. Okay. I'm not gonna. I will say, Aaliyah, I have never watched baseball in my entire life. I played rounders as a kid and hated it. And once again, America have the World Series where they're the only ones competing. I don't know. It's like yeah, have a world championship where every country is. If you're having a world series, you need other countries to be competing in it. It's just, it's like, we have the World Cheese Rolling Championship near us. It's because we're the only ones to do it. Miles, so as the 40th anniversary of Pixar Animated approaches next year, might we see a Disney documentary exploring the studio's history? That'd be nice. I think that's a really good idea. Right, now we're going to be live for the rest of the show, so feel free to keep sending those questions in. And if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. We're coming up to 893, so we're about 106 people away. So keep subscribing, folks. Let's see. I'm just going to try and find where we are on the live stream, and then I'm going to carry on. Right, here we go. Matt says, with YouTube calling the Disney Channel after service, could we see Agatha all along assembled, making it to Disney Plus? Maybe. It does seem weird that that never got in there, but I think that whole series is dead. The fact that we didn't get one for any of the movies, or Ironheart, I think we did get one, but I think that's because it's old. Kelly says, speaking of Netflix being interested in Warner Brothers, Elias says, Blue Jays are Toronto, that is Canada, and Dodgers is somewhere in Japan. That's kind of the world. Yeah. I'm not saying, but Toronto, I know Canada, okay, you managed to make it, you could at least name it then the North American Championship, but then you still need Mexico and all the Caribbean countries involved in it as well. So yeah, I don't think necessarily just including one guy from Japan and Toronto as wherever we have a world championship. Okay, yeah, Kayla says, speaking of Netflix being interested in Warner Brothers, one of my friends has anxiety over the news. How do I explain that it's not inevitable? It is. It's all inevitable. I would say he ain't got a choice. It's like, you can't do nothing about it. The good news is if they incorporate it into Warner Brothers, you're going to get all that content available with your Netflix subscription. They're going to save money on not having to need HBO. And fundamentally, if Netflix absolutely destroys Warner Brothers, so there are no more Warner Brothers movies and there's no Warner Brothers television shows and HBO disappears and they just swallow everything up and ruin it all. We've got the stuff that we've got, and somebody else will take up the mantle. If Warner Brothers doesn't release 12 movies a year, then Paramount and Universal and Disney will fill in the gap. They will take advantage of the opportunity and fill it in. So yeah. But again, what's the point of spending all that money on it just to ruin it? Matt says, what do you think of ABC making a Scrubs revival show coming out next year? I didn't mind Scrubs. That's all right. I don't think I watched it very much. It's okay. Again, to me, it's lazy. It's laziness. Like, do a new comedy. Do something new. Why do we have to keep going back to old stuff all the time? Why can't they come up with a new comedy? It's like, just, that's the big thing for me. It's just lazy. Just lazy, easy, cheap filler that automatically will get viewers that rather than making something new. Kelly says, I asked Brandon Kaz the same question the other day regarding Doctor Who. He said it will land somewhere, but they will not be getting the same right fees. Yeah, someone will buy it. If you take a big, well-known show, someone will buy it. Someone will buy it for sure. Bubble Charlie says, I think Netflix should partner with Nexstar so Netflix owns the content. Nexstar will operate the channels. Netflix is not interested in linear television. It is not interested in buying that. That's why with this Warner Brothers stuff, this is why Warner Brothers have decided to split into two. Because this way, what they can do is they know that they'll be able to get Netflix, and some other companies will just want the Warner Brothers movies and HBO Max and the HBO, etc., without all the CNN and Discovery. That's why they're splitting into two, because they can get more money for that part of it than the other part of it. Because if it was combined, Netflix might not be interested by separating it. That's whereas Paramount, I think, wants all of it because it can utilize all of it. Comcast probably wants all of it, but Netflix is going to be able to boost the price up because it only wants that portion of it. Babak says, who do you think will be the next up? When do you think will be the next update for Disney Plus? I think we're going to keep seeing just little updates just constantly coming in. Kelly says, I know 20th Century distributed anime films prior to the Disney acquisition. It's possible to link a distribution deal with an anime. Yeah, it would make more sense to do it with that one there. It would make sense for 20th Century. Babak says, Disney doesn't need to win the streaming wars because they're dominating the entertainment wars with their theaters, TV, and streaming. Yeah, I mean, I do think Disney needs to be better. Disney got nonchalant. They got a little. Their movies suffered because they got a little bit carried away with thinking they were the dark balls. The TV shows, the Disney Plus stuff, just didn't work the way they wanted to. They just threw stuff at the wall and it didn't work. And they're now regrouping. They have got all the assets they need to. ESPN and Hulu were the missing components that Disney Plus needed. they were trying to create another. They already had the recipe, you know, and I always felt a little bit like, you know, they were trying to make this new product and they needed to put chocolate on it. And rather than the fact that they already own Cadbury's, you know, the kind of thing, and they go, right, okay, well, we need to find it's a new kind of chocolate. And they go, you've got your Cadbury's right there. Just put that on top of it. It'll be fine. You've got what you need. And they kept looking for the other chocolate. And it didn't work. And then they went, oh, look, we've got Cadbury's here. And then they put it on top of it, and that's fixed it. Keenan says, I think you're right. The only reason Netflix is number one is because they were the only way that makes money. Yeah, it's their core business. Netflix has already won the streaming wars since they're the standard bearer of streaming television. I do think they are the current winner of the streaming wars. They could be very different in 10 years. They could be very, very different. Miles says, are you looking forward to the upcoming Monsters Fun Day football in December? Nope. I'll give it a go. I think I jumped a load of questions in. Babak says, someone once told me that Netflix movies are the straight to DVD sequels we used to get. Yeah, that's very much it. Yeah, straight to DVD is straight to streaming now. Saying that, there are some quite good ones. I watched one on Apple the other week with Matthew McConaughey, like Lost Bus or something like that. That was a good movie. Matt says, why are some TV shows only show the current season and not all seasons? So what? Disney only has the rights for some shows from Fox and like Universal, etc. So that's why they don't have all of them. It's generally just down to licensing, and some of them as well. They might not have the old seasons. Miles says, what lessons could Disney and Pixar learn from the success of K-pop Demon Hunters earlier this year? Put K-pop in it. I think again, you're just taking K-pop and demons and stuff, mixing it together, and you've just got a really cool concept, a really cool idea that resonated with kids. And it's called also doing something new, doing something unique, and it caught the attention of. Sometimes this stuff is just lightning in the bottle and it just catches fire or it doesn't. And sometimes there's no lessons to be learned. They can't just replicate it. They can't just keep doing it. Sometimes these things just happen organically and something just clicks. And it just clicks, and I think that's the thing nowadays. Some shows just do not click. Kelly says Fubo TV isn't the main reason for the YouTube blackout. Disney has a history of playing hardball with carriage disputes. This happened with Charter and DirecTV, 100%. And I think it's just YouTube, and the people can use Fubo as a bit of a little sting of get a little sting at Disney. Miles says, with Ramsey Lettergo exiting as the president of Paramount Animation, well, who do you think are in the running to take over their post, particularly after the recent Skydance merger? I'm not going to lie, I don't really know executives too much. Personally, for me, with executives and stuff, they should be heard, or they should be doing their stuff and not heard. I don't think we should really know who all these executives, who they are. I don't think it's good. I mean, CEOs seem to have now become, we seem to talk about all these CEOs like they are personalities. Like, that's not always been the case. And I think executives and stuff, they should just be off in the background doing their thing. And if they screw up, they get fired. Kelly said Elon Musk spent a lot of money to ruin Twitter. He did, but I think he had alternative plans and he had ideas of what he's going to do. Whether or not it was interconnected with his other plans, I just don't think it quite worked. I mean, there's so many times I feel like with Twitter where I'll be honest, I think if it wasn't for doing the website, I probably wouldn't use it. I am so close to sometimes actually deleting the app because it's just full of AI slop and just fake bots, and it's just all engagement, right? It's just ridiculous. Public says, when they do modern stuff, they don't give enough time to grow. Shows like the reboot in mid-century modern were great and more time to become even more popular. That's the trouble. They sitcoms need a lot longer, and they're not willing to give them the go. And I also think as well, and generally, I know this is not necessarily interconnected with politics, but comedy is in a bit of a weird state right now because of what they can make, what can be made fun of, and what can be made humorous. And the world is so polarizing at the minute that comedy doesn't work in properly because people are getting offended, and that's on even. It doesn't matter which side you're on. People are getting more and more offended by stuff, and so I think sitcoms, if they play it too safe, it's not funny, and they can't go too edgy because it doesn't work either. And so they've got to either pander to a particular audience, of which then it doesn't gain mainstream. Animation can get away with stuff much easier because it's not, people will take it like South Park and Family Guy can really just go so much beyond what a normal sitcom could do. So that's my thoughts on that one. Kayla says Comcast did mention the other day that they're most interested in the studios and streaming side of Warner Brothers. If this happens, I know they'll merge Peacock with HBO Max since HBO Max. It would make sense to you. We are going to see some consolidation. Kayla says I agree with Bubba. Disney does not have to win the streaming wars. They're providing an alternative to Netflix and a long-time establishment. Yeah, 100%. Kayla says I know pro sports in general tends to make fans miserable, particularly the NFL. That's why I'm glad ESPN made a deal with WWE so they can diversify in pro wrestling industry. I mean, wrestling. I mean, all of the like trade sites and stuff that I follow. I mean, my Facebook feed is just full, and it's constantly again engagement bait, where it's all about trying to get a reaction out of you, trying to get a comment, trying to get you to disagree with what they're saying, because that's how they make the money. If they come around and they go, yeet, everything's awesome, then you get people that don't like him will then comment. But if they turn around and go, right now, Triple H is bad at everything he does, it gets people going, no, it's not. There's just engagement, and it's all social media. It's just got awful. Aaliyah says Paramount wants all of Warner Brothers, but Zazie thinks it's more possible. Thinks more is possible split. So Paramount has more of a courtship. They need lower than they need to than the other companies. If they really want it, they'll step up with more dollars. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. There is some big money there, and Paramount does have the that advantage of the fact that they can go to Zaslav. I want all of it, but they are going to have to pay more for it because suddenly Zaslav's going to go like, well, Netflix will give us this much, and you need to buy this and that. So they're going to have to match Netflix and then pay for the other company as well. Right. Okay. So looking here. So last call for questions. The poll at the minute. What do you think of the ESPN Beyond Sports deal? 37% of you think it's good for sports fans. 26% of you think it's good for future fans. And 26% of you think it's a waste of money. And 11% say do. Kaylee says, I know watching Shifting Gear and Abbott Elementary, both shows are funny in their own ways. Abbott Elementary is funny. I haven't watched, I don't think, the latest season. Shifting Gears, I watched a couple of episodes and just found that just dull. For the trouble with me with Shifting Gears is it's a bit like Tim Allen is just playing Tim Allen, like he's just a grumpy, I don't know, he didn't really like, it's just Tim Allen. And then Kat as well, she's just playing loudmouth. It's just they're just playing caricatures of themselves, and it just, I don't know, just didn't feel good. Carrie says one example in theater was when Biggie talked about meat slapping. Others mentioned the matches of Cody Roman and Bailey at WrestleMania. It makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff with wrestling. Miles says a new documentary series of history would be nice, since it would be cool to learn what happened after the Pixar story. Yeah, definitely, 100%. So on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back next week with another live Q&A. Again, a huge thank you to everyone that subscribed. We're just shy of 99,895 subscribers. So we're literally 105 away from, I honestly can't believe it. So my pure guess is by this time next week, yeah, we should be at 100,000, and it's just unbelievable. I honestly, yeah, it's absolutely, and it's actually, as well as it's kind of nice having some good stuff this week at the moment. But on that note, guys, thank you very much. I do appreciate each and every one of you that's joined in on the live chat. Aaliyah, Keenan, Miles, Khaled, Babak. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anyone. Dana. So Sooner, also Knoxwave. Also a big thank you to Keenan, Derek, and Matt for your super chat. I really appreciate that. And on that note, guys, thank you very much, and I shall see you guys soon. Later. Tally ho. Toodaloo.